exactly is a business operator, and how do you outsource that shit? We have a page on our website that consistently drives views from Google called Are You a Business Operator? This is a vestigial page left over on the website from back when we had a quiz that was trying to help people identify whether they were a job owner, a business operator, or a business owner. But somewhere along the way, it became one of the most popular pages on the website. So let's talk about it. First of all, what is a business operator? So the business operator is the individual in the business that is making sure all of the different components of the company are functioning the way that they are supposed to, that the operations are running smoothly. A lot of times when the business owner is also the business operator, it means that they are wearing a lot of hats. They are usually the business owner in charge of strategy and goals and long-term, etc. They're the operator, making sure all the departments are running properly. They're in charge of marketing. They're usually in charge of sales, in finance. They're running pretty much all of them and usually worn pretty thin. But outsourcing the business operator position can be incredibly intimidating because that's the operations. It doesn't matter how great marketing or sales or strategy or finance is. If the business can't fulfill on what's being sold, it's not going to make much of a difference, is it? So while it's usually one of the first things that business owners try to outsource, it's not usually done with as much, shall we say, grace as it could be. One thing that frequently gets overlooked is that if you as the business owner are looking to outsource your business operations, you still have to have time to manage that new business operator. Now, it shouldn't be taking as much time as it was taking for you to manage all of the operations of the business. Otherwise, what's the point? But too often I see where a business owner hires a business operator and just kind of throws them to the wolves and expects them to figure it out and thrive. And usually that results in a decrease in production, performance, and all of the other things that start to cause problems for everyone in the business. So how do you tell when it's time to outsource operations? And then how do you actually do it? First things first, when? Because if you try and outsource this too soon, you're going to cause a cash flow crunch, which isn't going to serve anyone. There may be some individuals out there that managing operations is their jam. And for you, you should probably be looking at how to outsource your marketing, your sales, your finances, but not your operations. But if managing the operations of your business is driving you nuts, the first thing to look at is, do you have the capacity to take on more sales if you are not the bottleneck in operations? i.e., do you have a team in place that is doing the fulfillment that could be fulfilling more if you had more sales coming in? Second thing to ask yourself is, are you turning away sales because you do not have the interest or capacity to add those sales in? If you are, that tells you that your sales engine is strong enough. So even if the answer to the next question is not yet, you have the capacity to quickly turn that around and fix it. So the next question is, do you have the finances to actually pay an operations manager without putting the business in a cash flow crunch? Understanding that a good operations manager is probably going to be making as much as you, and if you're like most small business owners, probably more, because you're not probably paying yourself enough. So let's assume your answers are that yes, you have the capacity to take on more work, yes, you have sales coming in that you're having to turn away, and yes, you have the cash flow and you have money in order to pay an actual operations director. Here's how you're going to actually go about hiring that individual. First things first, make sure you have a clear job description of exactly what this person is responsible for. That drives me absolutely bonkers. How often I get someone who just straight up doesn't bother clarifying what their new person is actually responsible for. Get it on paper. There's a lot going on. This is not something you want them figuring out 3 months down the road. They were supposed to be taking care of X because it causes a fire and literally burns your warehouse down. Secondly, make sure you have absolute clarity on the culture that you want to bring this person into. That means you need to know what the core values are that make your culture work. You need to understand what the vision is that you are working towards, the long-term goals of the company. You need to understand the mission that separates and differentiates you from the rest of the marketplace, because you need to make sure you're hiring someone who's passionate about your vision, passionate about your mission, and already exemplifies your core values. Because trust me, I don't care how much you pay someone, if they don't already have integrity, honesty, or whatever your core values happen to be, you can't pay them enough to suddenly sprout that core value inside of themselves. Lastly, look at your current people. Maybe it's time to have them take a personality assessment and get to know who they are a little bit more, but do you have someone who is already familiar with your company core values and culture who could perhaps be elevated elevated to this position as opposed to trying to hire outside. On the off chance you don't have that individual, now it is time to go to the marketplace and try and hire that person. So now you're going to actually put together a job ad, which is different from your job description. Your job ad should highlight, here are all the reasons you want to work for me. Your job description is, here's how I'm going to measure your success or failure. You don't send that to them until you've actually gotten into the interview process. The ad is about, these are all the great reasons to come work for us, and here's an idea of what you'll be doing. But they don't need the details yet. Run your own interviews, and I recommend having your team interview them as well. Perhaps get a couple of board members or people that you trust, mentors, involved with interviewing in addition, to make sure that this is the right person. You might even look at having them come on site to run things for a day or two to get familiar with stuff. Any kind of major position like that, I usually like to have them take on a project of some variety, just so that I have the chance to see how they actually do with managing that, give them the chance to experience us, and vice versa. And yes, I do recommend paying for this. You want to get the best out of that person. Why would you try and get that for free? So there you have it. What is a business operator? Are you ready to outsource it? And how to do so once you are ready. Hopefully that's helpful. Good luck.